Welcome to Your Mac Life for Wednesday, January the 2nd, 2019, show number 1200. Yay!
Wow.
1200 shows. My name is Shawn King. I'm joined as always by my beautiful wife.
Happy New Year. Oh, I'm Melissa King. Happy New Year.
Hopefully everyone had a wonderful, fantastic New Year, and you guys had a fantastic Christmas, holiday season, Kwanzaa, Festivus, whatever it is you celebrated. You all enjoyed yourselves. We were talking about this before in the pre-show. If you get a chance, if you see it online somewhere or on TV, Melissa and I watched on New Year's Day the fireworks celebration out of Sydney, Australia. Holy moly! You Australians go big or go home.
I hope Scott watched it.
Scott Thrift, yeah, no kidding.
Yes.
It was spectacular. It was the single most... I love fireworks. I've seen a lot of fireworks show. It was the single best fireworks show I've ever seen in my life.
Even on television, it was
even just watching on
mind-blowing.
TV, I can't imagine what it would have been like to be
there.
in that harbor, a boat in that harbor. Mm-hmm. That's what we got to do. When we moved to Australia, that's what we're going to do. We're going to be in the harbor.
We'll be on a boat.
Even if it's a freaking canoe. We're going to be on that water in that amazing harbor on New Year's Eve.
And stand there and see that. And it's probably so warm. Everyone was...
Have you ever had any interest in the New Year's Eve ball drop in New York City, in Times Square?
I used to watch that.
But have you ever interested in being there?
Oh, no.
No, me neither. You know why?
No.
Because it's winter.
Yeah.
It's cold as hell.
No.
And in order to get any kind of a decent viewing place, you got to be there at noon, and you can't leave.
Oh, no.
So people are literally wearing diapers. They're literally yes. The estimate's about 25% of the audience is wearing Depends. No, I'm not going anywhere doing anything where I have to wear Depends.
Oh, well, going in when you're in Sydney, it'll probably be 27 degrees in the middle in the night.
Exactly. That'd be perfect. Mm-hmm. On a boat, 27 degrees, surrounded by other boats, beer. Watching fireworks. That would be heaven.
All right.
We didn't do anything for New Year's Eve. We watched House of Cards. And midnight went by, we were like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, we didn't.
TV.
Yeah.
But I think at a certain age, and it's not just us. I hear from a lot of people. It's just I don't want to go out to a big party with a bunch of strangers.
Oh.
And I would have liked to have had friends over, but I don't have friends, so I can't do that.
I don't want to wake up after drinking. I'm not interested in doing that anymore.
You don't have to drink. You can have a party without drinking.
No, I know, but even just a few drinks now, and I feel icky the next day. So
you had one and a half Irish coffees there a couple weeks ago when you were just blotto.
You have to make more of that.
You were singing.
What?
To the cats.
Oh. See, as you can see. But anyhow, I don't want to go out and drink.
Drunk. So you guys did anything interesting, let us know. Email, as always, to Shawn at Your Mac Life Show or on air at yourmaclifeshow.com. On tonight's show, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. The intention was to talk about Apple's year in review and Apple's year going forward, and maybe a little bit about maybe The Loop is doing something interesting for the new year. But no, Tim Cook blew all that up this afternoon at 2 o'clock when they stopped trading on the stock. And when I saw that on Twitter, I thought someone died. When a company's stock in the middle of the trading day, they stop trading, someone's died. Something bad has happened. And I'm going through Twitter really quick. Turns out that Cook or Apple have announced they've drastically lowered their guidance for the holiday quarter, which is not a good thing. Apple is saying they're not selling nearly as much stuff as they had predicted they were going to a significant degree. Not just even a little bit, but to like 10%, billions of dollars they're not going to be making that they predicted they were going to make. And so they made that announcement at the end of this month, January 29th, they'll have their investor conference call. So we're going to talk to Jim about that, but whose fault that is. Is it Tim Cook's? Is it Apple's? Is it Donald Trump's? Is it the world economy? Is it the Chinese? It's a whole bunch of different things caused this. From our point of view, I can definitely say it's the price of the phone.
I have to agree with you.
I've got a iPhone 10 that we got last year. It's a great phone. I love it. I would have loved to have gotten an X Max. Melissa has a 6 Plus. We would love to have upgraded Melissa's 6 Plus.
Mm-hmm.
But at the price of the phone, especially here in Canada, it's too expensive.
No.
It's just not worth it. There's not enough value from Melissa's point of view going from the 6 Plus to any version of the 10. And that's going to be a problem for Apple. That's without a doubt. People like Melissa who love her phone, who uses her phone the same way we all do, takes pictures, loves taking pictures. If the only thing that's stopping you is the price, come on, Apple, you're going to have to do something about this. They're either going to have innovation that's so compelling that makes you want it, and not just the techie nerdy type folks like us, but average folks like you.
People aren't choosing to go, I'm going to get that for the camera.
That's right.
They're not going to do it.
Because the camera isn't that good for the average person who doesn't know how to shoot. It's not compelling enough for them to get it.
No.
And if that base model phone costs $1,000 like it does here in Canada,
it's like buying a piece of jewelry. More.
Yeah. So
no.
it's MacMan, this is the first time I've been eligible to upgrade and have no plan to upgrade because of the price.
Here we
A
go.
lot of folks are going to say it's not because of the price, it's because the Chinese or saturation or whatever it is. But in a granular person-to-person point of view, that's the reason why a lot of folks won't. Because the phone they have now, perfectly good.
It's good enough.
Your 6 Plus, by the way, notice, look at that pretty screen.
And my pretty cover that I got for $12 at YVR Airport.
It's not broken. Her screen's not smashed anymore. Yay!
I have a new phone.
You have a new phone, exactly.
This is my new phone.
But we talked about it. We said, your phone's all smashed up. It's a 6 Plus. It's 4 years old. Do you want a new one? And she said, well, tell me about the new ones. So I told her about the new ones, and she was like, meh. There wasn't anything compelling that make you go, oh, I want that so bad.
Well, I'd love the camera, but
not for $1,000.
No way.
You can buy a perfectly good DSLR camera for $1,000.
Exactly. No.
So I think and that being the case, I wonder what Apple's going to do about this. The high-end phone market is, as we've said before, fairly saturated. Everybody who wants an iPhone has an iPhone. Apple has got to try to take market share away from Android users. Remember, the vast majority of phones out there are Android users. So Apple still has the possibility of getting those Android users to buy iPhones, but not at the price point that Apple's doing it at, because you can get a pretty good Android phone for $200-$300. If an Android user goes, I might want to get an iPhone, and they go to their local, and I'm using Canadian prices in my head, they go to local TELUS or Bell, and TELUS sells it's $1,000. You go, screw you.
Yeah. So a question then for nerds is that what more can they do with this phone?
Fair question.
Because, okay, lovely cameras with all that stuff. That's lovely. Lovely, fresh, bright colors. Nice, whatever. All the other things it can do. What else could they do that's going to...
The great thing about Apple is that they've got a lot of very, very smart people working there, much, much smarter than I am. So I couldn't predict the future. I don't think augmented reality is going to sell phones. It's going to be a cool feature. It's not going to sell phones.
Going to sell phones.
To people like you. It will sell to techies and nerds.
Well, because they have to have it.
A bigger screen? No, I don't think so. Maybe a smaller screen. I think what's going to sell more iPhones is a lower price. Simple as that.
I agree.
If the iPhone you have is going to last you for 4 years and is perfectly fine the way it is now, what's going to get you to buy a new one? What's going to get you to replace that 6 Plus? And if you could get it on contract for, say, $300, $400, maybe. Because right now, this is how ridiculous the cell phone market here is in Canada. Melissa's paying $55 a month for 4 gigs of shared data. We are paying $90 a month for the iPhone 10. If Melissa wanted to even jump up to an iPhone 7, a 3-year-old phone, TELUS is going to give it to her for free, but then charge you $30 extra a month.
That's a lot of money. That's milk and eggs and bread.
Her plan isn't going to change at all. They're just going to give her a phone. Yes, that's how you pay for the phone, is through that extra $30 a month. You get that. if you wanted to get an iPhone 10, let's say R, it's going to cost $115 a month, so your plan will double.
Yes.
And you got to pay $300 a month, $300 up front for the phone.
Well, I thought I had to give it back in 2 years.
And
I have to give it back.
Give it back.
No. I would love but I don't see how Apple can significantly reduce their prices enough that people are going to go, yeah, I'll fork out that much. I would fork out a certain amount for the camera. I really would.
Well, look at Apple's profit margin is about 38% across the board. What that means is that 38% of the price that you pay for a device is Apple's profit. Mm-hmm. So Apple could, in theory, rather than making 38%, they could make 25%. Still making money, but they're going to lower the price a little bit. I don't know if Apple can or will do that because they've sold X numbers of iPhone 10Rs, 10Ss, 10X Maxes. If they drop the price now, 2 months after they announce them, people are going to be pissed off. Now, that's what happens. Prices drop all the time. But if Apple drops that price $100, $200, $300, I'd be kind of pissed off about it.
If more people could buy them, more people would want things that go with them.
And Apple is promoting the whole services economy. In other words, Apple Music and paying for apps and the other things you do with your phone as opposed to the phone itself. And Apple is making billions off of that. And they have said that's their fastest growing segment of their market. So yeah, maybe there is logic to that. If you can find some way to get more people to buy them, then they will
You're
also
still going to make your money.
They'll sign up for Apple Music and this. But Apple's logic is they're signing up for that stuff now. No one's going to buy a cheaper iPhone, and so no one's going to have an iPhone now with Apple Music or without Apple Music, who is going to get a cheaper iPhone and then get Apple Music. You either want Apple Music now or you don't. You know, adding more services isn't going to make any difference.
No, but I'm saying that people that don't have iPhones would start to get iPhones, and therefore they would have more people accessing Apple Music and that's getting the headphones and all that stuff.
And that's the Android user market is where Apple has to go.
Exactly.
So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how they manage to pull this out. Again, the analyst call is January 29th. I think it's a Tuesday. You can listen in on the analyst call, by the way. You can't ask questions or anything else. You can go to Apple's website and listen in to what Tim Cook is going to say and how he is going to explain the myths that they have. A lot of the explanation makes sense. The world economy is slowing down. The Chinese economy is slowing down even more. The trade war, the tariffs between the Chinese and the Americans. Just all kinds of different things. But like I said, for us, and I'm sure for a lot of you, it's the price.
Yes.
It's simply the price. If the price were cheaper, we might have bought you a new phone rather than spending $120 on a new screen. Later on the show, during our starting point photography segment, we're going to talk about a particular kind of flying. Drone flying. Sorry, photography. Oh, that was so good and I screwed it up. Let me try again. 3, 2, 1. Later on our starting point photography segment, we're going to talk about a particular kind of photography. Drone photography. I'm not actually going to edit that out, just to let everyone know. We got this last week, and we've been having a lot of fun playing around with it. We'll talk about the differences between shooting on a drone and shooting on a DSLR or your iPhone in the starting point photography segment. But up next, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. This is Your Mac Life. Welcome back, everyone. This is Your Mac Life, joined as always in our phone by our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Shawn. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much, sir, and same to you and yours. Hopefully you had a good holiday season. Did you do anything interesting down there in California?
No, it was cold as shit.
No, it wasn't. What do you mean talking about cold?
It was in the 40s.
Oh, my God. You're from Nova Scotia. You're a Canadian boy.
Yeah, I know.
Are you saying you've lost your tolerance for heat or cold?
I think so, because I was cold.
I'll admit it was about the same here, and I was cold too. So.
Yeah. I had to drink more beer than usual just to stay warm.
Wow, that is very disturbing on your part.
Yes, it is.
We were going to talk about the Apple year in review and Apple going forward and the Loop going forward, but Tim Cook blew that all out of the water this afternoon when the company announced, first of all, that it was halting trading on the stock. When you saw that on Twitter or on your news feed, what did you think of first?
Well, from what I understood, they only halted trading for 20 minutes.
Yeah. But still, when the announcement came out.
Yeah. So I get that. But we need to put all that into perspective. I haven't checked what the after-hours trading is.
145.
Down how much?
It was at 157 when they closed.
Okay. Well, it could be a lot worse.
But I mean, my first thought when I saw that tweet was Tim Cook died. That was my first instinct. Was that's why they've halted trading. Something awful has happened, and that's the thing. That's the reason why. Thank God that wasn't the reason why.
Yeah.
This announcement is on a scale of 1 to 10. How bad is this?
Well, see, this is the thing. So, yes, the announcement is bad. They're not selling as many iPhones, both from upgrades and from in China that they expected to. But there is some good news in there, and that this is not due to the fact that the iPhones suck. It's due to the fact that, the majority of this is coming from China.
Yeah.
So, China's having a rough time right now, and that's reflected, unfortunately, in Apple's numbers. Sorry, go ahead. Apple took, the good when China was doing good, but now they have to take the bad when they're doing bad.
Yep. During in the letter to investors that Cook posted on Apple's website, lower than anticipated iPhone revenue, primarily in Greater China, accounts for all of our revenue shortfall to our guidance, and for much more than our entire year-over-year revenue decline. People are going to say there's a lot of other reasons for this, but it seems pretty obvious that U.S. governmental policies are affecting Apple in ways that they don't like and certainly didn't anticipate when they announced this guidance. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of things. Imagine the number of things that not only Apple, but every company tries to predict.
Yes.
When they put out guidance. And when something like another government comes in and messes around with that, you can't predict that. Yeah. And the fact that, there was a line in there where China themselves had said that they were, their economic growth was the worst in 25 years. Yeah. And, things like that are not in Apple's control. And that's what I was trying to say, that, there are situations that Apple can try and predict and buy enough components to make sure all this is done. I would be very more concerned about this if it was Apple's latest iPhone sucks so bad that nobody was buying them. It was a good economy everywhere in the world and nobody was buying them. That would indicate some danger.
Neil, sidebar. Sorry.
And even though you can't put lipstick on this pig, you can't. I mean, it's bad.
Yes.
but it's nothing that Apple did to make it bad.
Neil Seibert on Twitter said Apple's old first quarter guidance was for $89 billion to $93 billion. Apple's new guidance is $84 billion, an 8% reduction in revenue guidance, which is also going to obviously be similar to their guidance for profits, for shares, for sales, all those kinds of things. Gruber said something interesting on Daring Fireball today. He said Apple couldn't have picked a worse time to stop announcing iPhone sales figures. You agree with him on that?
Well, it certainly is interesting, isn't it?
It really is. Do you equate the two?
Well, there's no equating the two. It certainly would be nice to know how many they sold.
Yep.
And maybe because of the situation, Apple will say, you never know. They might. But yeah, it's just things like this are just all around. They suck. And there's nothing you can do. I mean, take, for instance, if there was a security breach and everybody's iClouds was leaked, or devices were spontaneously blowing up, or stuff like that. That's Apple's fault. Then you can say, well, no wonder they had a bad quarter.
Yep.
They suck. But how do you possibly say, well, the economy of one of the world's largest countries is in the toilet? Yeah. And that affected our numbers by 8%.
Do you think that there's anything Apple can or should do with regards to this? I mean, the obvious solution for any kinds of issues like this is lower the price. In theory, you lower the price, you'll sell more. Doesn't seem to be there any other issue, any other solution for Apple, does there?
Well, I don't even know that lowering the price is going to help. I mean, we're talking about, from what I can understand, and I'm not an economist, but from what I can understand, this is a deep economic problem. And you are not going to get people to spend that much money when the entire country is having a deep economic problem. Yeah. So I don't know that lowering the price is going to make much of a difference. I mean, when you're worried about, as an individual or as a country, worried about the very growth of your economy, then, I don't know if you fork out $1,000 or $800 or $600. I think you hold on to it.
Especially in an economy and a country that is only just recently moving into this large middle class. Folks are still, from what I've read, not as free to spend their disposable income as we are in the West because of concerns of this won't last kind of stuff. So Apple is working in a very high-end market, especially in the Chinese market. Their high-end is significantly further away than the other manufacturers in that market. So that's the first thing to go. That kind of discretionary income is the first thing that gets pulled back on. It's going to be the same for motorcycles and boats and for other things that aren't seen as necessities. They're just status items.
Let's be honest. It's the same here. It's the same in Canada and England. I mean, when the economy starts to go, people pull back on everything. Because you just don't know when that little extra piece of money is going to be coming in the form of a bonus or a raise, or even whether you'll have a job. Yep. So from what I was able to gather, again, not being an economist, this is a pretty serious situation, and it's not just serious for Apple.
This is something you and I have talked about in the past, and it shows the danger of Apple when they have so much of their company tied up in one product. 62% of Apple's revenue last year or last quarter was from the iPhone. So when the iPhone gets hit like this in one market, it drags down the entire company. Monty says in the RC chat room, maybe perhaps this will spur Apple to pay a little more attention to the rest of their product line. In my humble opinion, the iMac, Mac Mini, MacBook, MacBook Pro lines could use more attention. Do you agree with Monty on that?
I definitely agree, but I disagree in one way. If, let's say that all of Apple's products were firing on all cylinders, they would still be down this 8%.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe they're, if they, let's say they were all going gangbusters and your forecast was for 100 billion, well, no matter what, you're still going to be down this much money because the iPhone is going to make up less, but overall you would be making more and you're still going to be down.
Yeah.
So there's no escaping what happened in China. There's just no escaping it. So I think overall Apple has done a good job this year of paying attention to some of their other products. You know, the Mac Mini's new. They have new MacBooks. We know about the Mac Pro. I love the iMac. The iPad is the best ever, probably one of the best computers ever. And still, you know, they're selling a lot of this other stuff, but you know, they're reliant on iPhone, and that's just the way the business is right now. Would it be nice if Apple had, two other products that could match the iPhone?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. But still, in this situation, they're going to be down a certain percentage based on the sales of China. Now, and I don't mean to pick any small country in the world. If that country was having a crappy economy, it wouldn't affect Apple that much. Yep. You know, China's still buying, the U.S. still buying, England still buying, Europe still buying, you know, all those countries are still buying. And then one small country has a down economy. Well, that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
If it's the U.S. or China especially, holy crap, that's going to ding you.
Over on Macworld, your former employer, Jason Cross writes, Apple cuts Q1 2019 earnings, blames everyone but itself. Is he right on that?
I don't see how he can be right. I saw that headline. I didn't have the fortitude in my stomach not to throw up all over my screen. So, like I said, the way that I read this, if you read through Tim's note, there are a lot of positive things that happened throughout the world, including high sales of Mac and iPad. And everything else can be attributed to China. So how specifically, I would like to know, is Apple supposed to control one of the biggest economies in the world to buy its product?
Yeah.
That's what I said at the very beginning. If this was something that Apple did wrong, I would agree with him and say, yeah, I mean, you screwed up. And I would be the first one out there saying it. I just don't know how Apple is supposed to control an economy.
Well,
they can't.
It can be easily argued that one of the reasons why is what we said. The phones are priced too high. If Apple's making a 38% profit margin,
so.
Well, a lot of folks, we've been talking about this in the IRC chat room, that many of us haven't upgraded to the latest and greatest iPhone because they're too expensive. We bought a 10, so we're not going to upgrade to an XR. Bought an 8, not going to update to an X Plus or XS.
I don't disagree with that, and everybody is on their own cycle for upgrades.
Yes.
Whether that's 2 iPhones or, you get some crazy people that upgrade every time.
Sure.
You get some that upgrade 3 times over. But there is still no way to account for China.
Yeah.
No matter what idea you come up with where Apple could possibly sell more phones, you cannot account for China. You just can't. It's too big of a market, and when that market starts to fail, that market may come back next quarter, maybe not.
It also doesn't help that Tim got caught at this moment in time when the stock market took a huge hit from various comments and policies of the administration. Apple went from $233, I think, at the beginning or middle of October, now down to $150, just slightly over its year low. 157 at the close today. So they've lost billions of dollars of value because of the stock market declining, and now this has happened. So Apple's just it's almost a perfect storm of crap that's hitting Apple all at the same time.
Yeah, it is. But let's not forget that it's not just Apple. I mean, we're focused on Apple,
sure,
and rightfully so. But Google's taken a hit, Facebook's taken a hit, Twitter's taken a hit. I mean, geez, you want to talk about a company that's taken a hit, Facebook.
Yep.
You know, and I'm not trying to change the subject or say that somebody else is doing worse, but what I'm saying is that that's Facebook's doing. That's their own doing.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with an economy. They're scuzzy little people, and they try and say they're not doing something when they are. That's not the situation we're in right now. And again, there is no putting any amount of lipstick on this pig. Yep. It's bad. It's bad.
Well, let's try to see if we can't put some lipstick on this little piglet.
Okay.
The year ended with another rare, but still another product launch miss. AirPower was promised in September of 2017. It went the entire year. Once it was a year old, September 2018, Apple stopped talking about it. Apple will not answer questions about the AirPower.
Right.
Apple has scrubbed almost all mention of the AirPower off of its website. Is this an embarrassment as well? Is there lipstick that will fit in this piglet?
Well, in that case, they're fucked. I mean, no, seriously. Seriously, I would love to see AirPower. I really would. There is only one little coat of lipstick that you can put on any product that doesn't actually come out, and that's that if it's not ready, it's better for Apple that they don't release it. Now, whatever happened to it is just a massive mystery.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not like Apple to just absolutely scrub something out of existence.
Yeah.
But yet this one was. And yeah, they won't answer questions about it.
Is that to Apple's detriment? A lot of this sturm and drang about this issue, it sort of bleeds into other things. But wouldn't Apple solve the problem by simply saying, hey, we overstepped. We thought we could solve this particular problem, and the rumor is that it's a thermal issue. We thought we could solve this particular problem. We can't. Oops, our bad. We're sorry. We'll let you know when it's ready. Wouldn't that be better than complete and utter silence?
Yeah, it probably would. But, you know, Apple, because of Apple, are going to get hit no matter what they say.
True.
So when they postponed the launch of the AirPods, you know, people were all over them. Oh, Apple can't get this right. You know, it's going to be terrible. But now you have Apple saying nothing. And I think that they're still trying to solve the problem.
Sure.
But they don't want to leave up, you know, information about a non-existent product when they, at this point, probably don't know when it could be released.
No.
I mean, maybe we'll see it at WDC. Maybe it's not going to be 2 years before we see it. Who knows? But yes, that if there was a disappointment this year, that would be it to me.
Yeah, I think that's like I said, it compounds the other issues that Apple has had by the fact of if it would just been one thing, we could let it go. But it seems like with the stock tanking, with this issue of the guidance, AirPower, previously the AirPods, there seems to be a lot of stumbling blocks, both internal and external at Apple. And some of those can be solved by Apple just simply stepping up, send out the VP of hardware and say, hey, screwed this up. Have them be interviewed at Ars Technica, or have Gruber do an interview with them. Do something just to let people know and put people's minds at ease.
Well, you mentioned quite, like 4 things in there. The only things that I think you can hold Apple responsible for are the, you can't hold them responsible for the stock market or China. So you can hold them responsible for the AirPods and AirPower, 2 products. Yeah. That's what you can hold them responsible for. They got the AirPods out and they work amazingly well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And AirPower, disappointment. I would have loved it. But not here. I would like to know what's going on with it, but that's just my curiosity. Yeah. Apple doesn't have to tell me,
Yep, I mean, agreed. Let's
I wish they would, but
let's move on to 2019, both for Apple, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Loop itself. I think the biggest interesting thing that's going to happen in 2019 for Apple, from my point of view, is the new Mac Pro, the new powerhouse, the new big iron that Apple's going to have. After all this time, do you think people are still interested in it, or has Apple lost so much market share in this particular segment that it's going to be a meh product?
Well, we had no idea what Apple's market share was.
Yeah.
Because they don't break out the numbers for Macs. But I think it's pretty safe to say that it wasn't huge.
Yes.
But was it ever really huge for the G5 and, all of these computers? They never broke it out then either. Yeah. So, but we don't know.
The Mac Pro represents the high end of Apple products. That's the one we all aspire to. We can't afford it. Very few of us are ever going to get one of those things. But man, we like the look of it and the thought of it, and I'd love all those cores, and so we aspire to that product. I don't know that this would be, when it is released, whenever it might be released in 2019, will it be that aspirational product? I don't think it will be.
I don't know. I mean, when Apple put out the iMac Pro, I think that was an aspirational product too. You just look at it and say, wow. I mean, that was just power, just pure. It's like seeing an old muscle car, you can barely drive it because it's got so much power. Right. It's one of those things. Yeah, I would love to have that. You step down on the gas pedal and it just spins around in circles.
Yep.
I mean, but I don't know if Apple does this modular thing. We don't even know what that means. Is it going to be a tower?
Yep.
We think so, but that's only speculation based on modularity. But, maybe Apple has something completely different that it's thinking about, which wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. And here you have, the new Mac. I don't know.
I don't think Apple's going to do this. But in light of today's guidance and announcement, I would really like to see Apple bring out a new iPhone, the iPhone SE version 2, a smaller iPhone where they can justify the lower price. And they can sell that one as the low-end iPhone. I get a feeling that might happen this year, and Apple's not doing it as a reaction to today's announcement, because Apple works on a 2-year prior cycle, or at least 18-month cycle in the past. But do you think there's a possibility that Apple will come out with a iPhone SE version, a smaller version of, say, the iPhone XR?
Well, based on today's note, sales everywhere of the iPhone are good except in that one region.
Yeah.
So it seems that they don't have any problem selling the iPhones that they're making. So I don't know. I mean, it seems to me they want to move away from all of those phones and make, Face ID and all of these things the future.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it makes sense for them to have one of the smaller ones.
I think it's just easier for them to justify a lower price. We were saying there in the pre-show, it would be hard for Apple to, again, as a reaction to today's guidance, in the next month or so, drop the price of, say, the iPhone XR by a couple $100. I don't think Apple's going to do that. I don't think that's how they're going to react to this China situation. The easiest way to sell more phones in China is to lower the price. I think what they'll do is bring out a whole separate phone for these emerging markets, for a market that's a little more price sensitive than the North American or, say, the Western market.
But they already tried that.
Yeah, I just get the feeling they might try it again. I think they should try it again, as a matter of fact.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. They seem very focused on moving ahead.
True.
So I'm not sure if that'll work out or not.
Let's move on.
I'm not convinced.
Let's move on to the Loop in 2019. One of the things I said on Twitter before Christmas was that I was so happy, and this may be a little inside baseball for folks. I'm so happy that at no point in my long tenure with the Loop has Jim ever said you need to mention certain things. Make sure we get SEO, search engine optimization. Make sure we do affiliate links. As far as I know, Jim, you don't have an affiliate link for the Loop for any products. Those of you follow-
Yeah, I meant to talk to you about all of that today, but I didn't get a chance.
We got to make some money, dude. Come on. But one of my big issues with iMore is that everything they recommend has got an Amazon affiliate link attached to it, and it throws suspect into any of their reviews or any of their comments about it, because it feels like far too many times they're pimping stuff just because it's got an Amazon affiliate link and they're making money off of that. That being said, why doesn't the Loop do something like this? Why don't you have these alternative methods of earning money for the Loop?
I'm just too lazy.
I was going to say that. It's just too freaking much bother, isn't it? It's a pain in the ass.
Here's the thing. So I do have an Amazon affiliate link that I put up every now and then.
Yep.
Nothing. I don't usually use it. I found that a lot of these links and a lot of these companies, once they get popular, they cut back on everything that they do for you. So, if you talk to iMore or you talk to any, Wirecutter's whole business was affiliate links,
Right.
And yes, there is the perception that, you're only putting this up to get me to click on an affiliate link. And I don't necessarily believe that with the people that I know that do it. But, there has to be a way for these websites to make money. And when you start off with an affiliate link and then you find products and you link to them and people buy them and, you get a few cents and then, Amazon comes in and says, yeah, well, we're going to cut that. Now you're only getting 1 cent instead of 3 cents.
Yep.
It's just, and they have, and so have others. Apple did it, you know, and I just, it didn't make sense to me long term to do stuff like that, to put myself through that or to put you guys through that. And it still doesn't.
But we've never even had anything remotely like that on the Loop. There's never been a year-end list of, your favorite products versus mine versus Dave or all that kind of stuff. And again, is that I don't mean this to be as bad as it sounds, simply lazy on our part, or is it something you were philosophically opposed to?
Well, something that we've never done because we just never did it is like these Black Friday sales. Everybody has a Black Friday sale. Yep. You don't need me to sit there for 2 hours and list all the Black Friday sales. Yeah. So, no, if you want to buy something on sale, you know where to go.
Yeah.
Come on. As far as, our favorite products, you're more than welcome to do that if you like. I'm not stopping you from not doing it. And, every once in a while I'll put up my favorite products, and usually that has to do with music. I'll put up, here are my favorite music products. And, I'll put 5 things down there just because, for no other reason. That's what I like. But if you want to do a holiday one, go right ahead. I don't care.
It's just one of those things that I really appreciate about the Loop in general is that you're not pushing this stuff on the audience. You're not saying, hey, click here, click here, click here kind of thing. That being said, is there a future 2019 stuff on the loop, or are we going to continue as we have been in the past? Is there anything in the future you can tell us about that you're thinking about doing?
You know what? I think that the loop continues to serve a purpose the way that it is. And, you know, when I look at what I think we try and bring to people, I'm happy with what we post. I mean, we bring a variety of things. We bring honesty of what we think about certain products or certain situations. And, you know, I don't know how we get any better at doing that core job.
Yeah.
And I think that is our core job, to provide, you know, information to people, whether that's one of the quirky ones that you have, or it's a music video that I put up, or it's, you know, some deep code thing that Dave posted.
Yeah.
You know, those are the things that I think we do best. And I think people like that. And they know when they come, it's going to be an interesting link one way or another.
Sure. Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting post. There'll be, you know, an interesting thought behind why we posted it.
Yeah.
You know, I posted something today on how to lose thousands on Amazon.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know, I mean, I feel bad for those people that get sucked in, but for those that didn't read it, people spent $40,000 to sell on Amazon.
Yep.
They paid these people money to take classes from them on how to sell on Amazon.
Yep.
So those people got their money, never really provided much of a service, and the people are left holding the bag.
It's the Amazon version of Trump University.
Yeah, well, and, you know, I said anytime there's a situation where somebody has the key to solving all of your selling problems and you can make a lot of money, that's usually a scam.
Yep.
And those are the only people that never lose any money.
That's right.
You know, I know that people want a way out of their jobs and what they're doing and try and make some cash for themselves. But, you know, it's one of those situations that people get locked into. And now these people are $40,000 in debt.
Yeah, no kidding. Folks, been talking to Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. He's here each and every week. He has his own podcast up on the iTunes store. It's called The Dalrymple Report. Check it out each and every week. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks a lot, Shawn.
Talk to you next week. See you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Turn my microphone down. I was railing about this on Twitter over the leading up to Black Friday and leading up to the holidays. It seemed like every single website was just trying to get you to the only reason these stories were being posted was to get you to click on the affiliate link. It wasn't that, because I'm the first one to admit that I've used affiliate links. I will continue to use them. I've got them on the yourmaclifeshow.com website, but I don't want that to be the only reason why you read the story or click on the link. I want it to be a secondary thing that you go, oh, okay, that sounded kind of cool. I'll click on this thing because I want to get it anywhere because Shawn recommends it or whoever. And I see so many stories, and iMore is, in my opinion, the worst purveyor of this, where they will have things that at least I know are factually wrong, usually do with photography. You know, the one of the things that they posted a little while ago was that something about one of these iPhone lenses. This iPhone lens kit will make your perfect shot even better. Okay, first of all, that's just shitty language. If the shot's perfect, you can't make it better with one of these lens kits. And secondly, these lens kits, especially the ones that iMore was pimping, are these $19 lens kits. And I guarantee you they're going to be shit. Nobody who's actually used a $19 lens kit can ever say, an iPhone lens kit can ever say that it made your photographs better. I guarantee they will not. It's not possible. You're putting a piece of plastic in front of your iPhone lens. Your shots are going to get worse. The only lens kit that you could ever buy is from a company called Moment, from Oloclip, and damn it, there's another one, I think it starts with an S, but they're all over $100. That's the only way you're going to be able to put a lens on the front of your iPhone that's going to make your photography better. Anything under $20 is garbage. And yet, I'm always pimping, out of the 6 that I had up there, 4 of them were these $20 lens kits. And the person was saying, this lens kit will be fantastic. No, it won't. But sure enough, they had an Amazon affiliate link there. So anyway, that's just one of those things that just grinds my gears about those kind of guys, those kind of links and those kinds of websites. So I'm very happy that Jim and Loop don't make us do those kinds of things. After this break, we're going to be talking about a particular kind of photography. I'll get it right this time. Drone photography, all that and more coming up. This is Your Mac Life. Oh, music stopped. And because the music stopped, I didn't get Melissa back up on. Miss Keeter says good night to Miss Melissa as well. You want to say good night to Mo?
Oh, good night, Mo.
Oh dear, hang on a second.
I can't wait to snuggle in bed. I hope that's what you're doing, because I can't wait.
What?
To snuggle in bed.
What are you talking about?
I can't wait to go and snuggle in bed and continue with my hibernation.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about, this is still, because you are off work until next, when is it?
I'll work on Monday. Mm-hmm.
We've been off since the 21st, right? Mm-hmm. Rory's been away since the 18th. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's back this Friday. This Saturday. I'm going to go into the big city and pick Rory up. He is having, I think, far too much fun. He might not come back. There is a very real danger.
Rumor. No, there is real rumor.
There's a real rumor that our son may not come back.
Yeah, Damon just told me.
We may have lost him. And the worst part about that is that now, when he gets mad at you and says, I'm going to go live with my dad, he knows what it's like, and he doesn't mind it. Before, we used to be able to run back, now it's, Smithers, British Columbia is in northern BC, and it's cold and it's miserable and it's snowy and that kind of stuff. But oops, turns out Rory loves it.
He loves it.
He loves the snowy and the miserable. He's been snowshoeing.
Yeah. He's been snowshoeing lots of times. Up in the Alpine, he went.
Now, what does that mean? Up in the Alpine?
Above tree line.
So there's no trees.
Well, Alpine, there's subalpine and then there's Alpine.
What's the difference?
Subalpine, there's more stunted trees and usually a lot of meadows and with beautiful flowers. But yeah,
he's having a blast, which is great, fantastic.
It is. I'm so happy for him. I don't feel.
We're both stupidly happy for him.
Yeah, it's okay.
In this segment of Starting Point Photography, website startingpointphotography.com. Please go if you want more information, more links, more stuff. I will admit, I'll be the first one to admit that it took a great deal of convincing, conniving, flat out whining for...
You are the whiniest whiner. People have or maybe people do. It is unreal, you guys.
Just turned into a giant 7-year-old. I want you, I want you, I want you.
It's just pathetic.
I'm not proud of it. All right?
No, you do it. Give it to him so he'll just shut up.
I was a 7-year-old. I want this, I want this, I want this. Well, we got it a week ago tomorrow. Is it just tomorrow? Yeah, a week ago tomorrow. Showed up in the door. And of course, it's raining outside.
No, it showed up when we weren't
even here. The mailman just sort of dropped it off. I was like, dude, don't just drop this
Damon's
thing
like,
off.
can I open it? Shawn says, no! You wouldn't even let him open it.
Got it home.
No, we got home.
We got home, opened the box, and there it was. It's right. Yes, it is. Look at this. Look at this. This is the Mavic 2 Pro Hasselblad 1-inch sensor camera, 4K, 10-bit HDR video, omnidirectional optical sensing, 8-kilometer video transmission range, 31-minute flight time, 72 kilometers an hour maximum speed. Whoa!
What's your max now, baby?
63 kilometers an hour, which is about 40 miles an hour. And that big box, there it is. There is the DJI 2 Mavic. Sorry, DJI Mavic 2 Pro. Very compact, surprisingly compact. Without the battery, surprisingly light as well. Not suspiciously so. They've done a really interesting job on the finish, so it doesn't feel smooth and plasticky. It's got kind of a little textured edge to it, and it's really very interesting. So check it out. You open up the arms, the not the propellers, the arms of this thing. So there's the front of the drone, and then the bottom flip down and back around. I'll do this with both of these.
He's getting much more adept at this and fast and comfortable.
Melissa, if I can get you to turn it on. Kidding, no.
I can't. I know that already.
This is really cool. This is ridiculously easy to fly. I am very, very surprised at how simple this was to take off. There's a button on the remote that just simply, you push the button and it goes whoop, and about 3 feet in the air it just sits there and hovers, waiting for you. Your remote has two joysticks on it, and one for one for up and down, one for turning the drone on its center axis, one for going forward and going backwards, and then one for tilting left and right. And the stability of this camera, of this gimbal set, you can't see it now because I've got a plastic cover on the camera and the gimbal mechanism. Very, very stable. I mean, there are times when I've been moving the drone back and forth fairly significantly, and the stabilization on the video was surprisingly good. And the video quality is very good. Our son, Damon, is a very accomplished drone pilot. You want to check him out at Damon Berryman Photography on Instagram. Very accomplished drone pilot, very, very good pilot. And he has a DJI Mavic Pro, the previous version of this one. And when I was first talking about this, picking his brain about flying and shooting and that kind of stuff, he wasn't all that impressed by the specs of the 2 Pro, the Mavic 2 Pro. Then he flew it.
And then he looked at the results.
Then he saw the video, and he saw the pictures. He was like, I have to buy one of these. Mm-hmm. I posted a couple pictures on Twitter and on Facebook and on Instagram and all the places that you can follow me. But basically, the ability to fly it, certainly straight away from you, straight back, left and right and turning, is very, very simple. Don't tell him I said this, in a wide open area, I will let Rory fly this because it's that easy to do. It's got a beginner's mode where when you turn beginner's mode on, and beginner mode comes on by default on your first flight, it will only fly 30 meters away from you and only fly vertically 30 meters. So that's within easy visual range. And the school track that we have up here, it'll still be within that track range. So very, very easy to fly. MacMan says that you get the Fly More combo. No, I didn't, MacMan, because A, the Canadian dollar isn't worth very much. That bag that DJI sells, Melissa very kindly, very sweetly went out on Christmas Eve, I think it was, to get that bag.
Yeah, on the day, yeah.
And it turns out that bag sucks. The official DJI bag, as we found out from our son Damon, who has it, and I didn't realize this before Melissa bought it, the inside of that bag is plastic. Well, we live in a very moist environment here on the Sunshine Coast. The drone is going to get damp, if not actually wet. You don't want to take your drone and put it into a plastic bag, which is functionally what the DJI Mavic bag is. It's a plastic bag. I don't want to put my electronics, the propellers and the batteries and the charger and the remote control into a plastic bag. So there's no way I wanted that one once. Even before Melissa bought it, I didn't want it because it was too expensive for what it had. Didn't need the 2 extra batteries and didn't need the 2 sets of extra propellers or the car charger. Well, now I want the extra batteries because it is so much fun to fly this thing. And I'm not even talking taking videos or anything. It just, there's a little bit of fighter pilot mentality in your head. I'll give you that. There's certainly a little bit of that 12-year-old boy going.
I seriously haven't noticed.
I may have made those noises at some point. I'm just saying, I
am pretty enchanted by Dexter myself. He's
Dexter.
Wormed his way into my heart.
The other thing about flying that makes it so easy is that, and certainly on the Mavic 2 Pro, the obstacle avoidance systems in beginner situations. Now, maybe a pro can make it do this, but as a beginner, as a guy who's only flown the drone less than a week, we have tested this out where I've flown it at slow speed, flown it directly at Melissa, directly at myself, and it stops a good distance away. It stops a good 5 feet, a meter away from you, doesn't it? And you cannot force it to go further. You can go up, it can go down, it can go left, it can go right, but it will not continue to go further. Same with backwards. It will not fly backwards into somebody. I've had a couple of flights where, because of the angle I was standing, I couldn't see the obstacle. And remember when we were out yesterday, had the drone flying backwards on a pier, and the pier had one big giant pylon 10 feet in the air, and the drone just stopped. And it was because I hadn't realized from the angle I was standing that the drone would have, at least it thought, it would have hit that pylon. When we were flying out in Gospel Rock, there was times when it was a good distance away where you could see visual line of sight. So you're supposed to keep it within your view, but I lost it in the background clutter of the mountains in the background. And bringing it back, or sending it out there was a tree branch in the way that I didn't see the tree branch. The drone saw the tree branch. Now, you don't want to force it. You don't want to test it because the tree branch has to be a certain width or thickness before it will see it. So you can't take too many chances. But it is very, very interesting flying it. It won't, you put it over top of your head, it won't land on your head, dumb stuff like that. It will warn you when it gets too low, even if it's out over the water. When I flew yesterday along the harbor here in Gibsons, and it was a couple times I lowered it down to the water as low as I could in the water, as low as I could see, and I could see the warnings on on their app that said, you're 10 feet away, 5 feet away, 4 feet away, kind of thing. So it's very surprising how simple it is as a flying device. I have not, and probably will not for at least a little while, do what Damon does. Damon will go to the forest and the parks here and fly through trees very slowly. There's a thing called trip mode on it that only fly at a meter a second. So it's a very, very tiny controlled flight. And when we went out with him a couple of days ago, he did that with his drone, and it was a beautiful shot.
It really was,
gorgeous.
Wasn't it?
I'm not at that confidence level yet, but it's got a bunch of interesting flight modes. It's got a what's called a droney mode, which basically does a 45-degree flight away from you, or away from the object you've chosen. We've chosen ourselves. It's got a rocket mode where it just goes straight up and shoots whatever you've chosen there. It's got a helix mode, which means it'll do a spiral around you as it rises up. It's got an asteroid mode. We haven't used the asteroid mode because I think that one's kind of silly. So there's a bunch of what they call intelligent flight modes. The one I've had the most fun with is, we did this yesterday, is the tracking mode, where you tell Dexter, track me, and then you walk away, and Dexter follows you. Mm-hmm. And it follows you in a very organic kind of way. It doesn't stick there and not move, but it will move a little around you. And I don't know if that's because of its own position, whether it's doing it on purpose or whether it's just doing it because it's still kind of keeping the tracking. But it's a really neat effect when you see it. I'm editing a video now that will hopefully be up tomorrow evening, and I'll show you guys this really neat organic effect of the drone following you. And also, you can have the drone in front of you, and you can walk towards it, and it will back up. So you can do a tracking shot that way. You can also do a profile tracking shot. So you're here, and the drone is here, and it follows you in profile. There's a hyperlapse mode, which I haven't gotten very successful at, but I'll also practice that. There's a bunch of other modes that help you, as an inexperienced pilot, get really cool shots. Now, Damon has said he doesn't use any of these modes because he's such a good pilot. He can recreate the modes on his own. But the biggest thing, photography-wise, that I've noticed is it takes... you have to figure out all the settings. And there's probably, I'd say, 100 different settings on the drone for any number of things. But you got to find the photo and the video settings, and then you got to tweak them. You really got to spend some time thinking, okay, this is how I want to move the drone. I want to move it very smoothly, so I got to get the gimbal settings to be very smooth, or the movement left and right of the drone very smooth, or the spinning on its axis very smooth. And you got to figure out what those things are and how to do them, because you won't get the worst thing in the world. You see so much of this stuff on YouTube videos that people are pilots first and photographers second, and so or videographers second. And you see a lot of these videos, the guys are doing it, it's like, and he goes up and goes, pip, pip, pip. It is very jerky and very hard to watch. Or there was one guy posted on the MavicPilots.com website. This video, it was boring as shit. It was lovely video. He went up and around his house, but there was nothing there. There was no story being told. These guys are just flying and videotaping their flying, as opposed to flying to tell a story, to create an image. I love the photograph that you and I and Damon took at the field the first day, where it was about, I'd say, 6 feet away and on an angle. And everyone knows your most flattering photographs are when you're looking up a little bit, because it raises your chin. You know, as we get older, we get these wrinkles. And raising your chin up stretches your neck a little bit as opposed to looking down at it. So the drone allows you to get this nice little angle at the people where they're looking up at the drone. So everyone just looks more attractive. A shot you can't get hand holding a DSLR.
No.
We got a couple of really neat shots of using the droney mode of Melissa and I standing on Gospel Rock and just having the drone move backwards 45 degrees, fly backwards for about 50 meters. Interestingly enough, when I first was reading about this and I saw that the elevation, AGL, above ground level, so the height, the max height that you can fly here in Canada and a lot of other places is 120 meters. And I thought, well, that's not very far. Holy crap, 120 meters is high.
It is, isn't it?
120 meters, you can't see squat. It's just useless. The danger is, though, you can send it 8 kilometers away. So we can stand on Gibson's and send it over to Keats Island.
We could.
We could. It would fly that far.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that I was saying to MacMan, we are so blessed here because we have so many places we can drone and the freedom to do the droning. We've
got 2 airports on the Sunshine Coast, but they're in a town called Seashell, which is a half hour away. So everything around, if you do a search on Google Maps for Gibson's, everything within a half hour drive of us here, and you can't drive very far here, is perfectly okay to fly in. And a lot of the city of Vancouver is, surprisingly enough, especially on the North Shore. Obviously, right in the city, you're a lot more limited. We've got a major airport out in Richmond, which has a huge exclusion zone, a no-fly zone.
I'm so sorry. I have a dusty microphone. Sorry.
But there are some places we can fly in Vancouver. Not as many as other places, but that's to be expected. You're in a major city.
That's what we could do for an hour when we're over there.
That's right.
We could go fly.
Common sense rules for a lot of the stuff. You don't fly over people. You don't fly at people. The couple of times when we've been flying and there's been people around, I've either sent the drone away or brought the drone back to us. And so the drone is in our area. I'm never going to fly, not never, but I'm never intentionally going to fly over someone who doesn't know I'm going to fly over them. I'm going to ask permission from somebody. I don't want to scare someone's dog. We were at the field a few days ago, and there was a guy out there playing with his dog, and we just waited for them to go away before I even launched the drone. We had a family, Asian family yesterday. We were out on the dock, and they were coming towards us along the pier, and I just made sure the drone was far enough away from them they wouldn't be scared of it. But then when they saw what I was doing, the kids were like, "That's a drone! Bring it over here!" So I flew it back to them.
Everybody so far has just been interested.
Yeah, we took. Hopefully, the video came out. We went into the town of Gibson. There's two areas of Gibson's. One called Upper Gibson, where we live, and there's Lower Gibson, which is much more the touristy kind of area.
It's historical.
Very historical. For those of you folks who remember, you're old enough to remember the Beachcombers. Gibson's is the town of the Beachcombers. Molly's Reach, the restaurant of the Beachcombers, is still here. And so I wanted to get that iconic shot of Molly's Reach, but it's right in the middle of the town. So we just waited until there was no tourists around. It was New Year's Day, so there wasn't going to be a whole lot of people wandering around. And we just waited for everyone to be clear of the area. And this is very similar to the things we talk about in other photography, especially street photography. You get ready for the shot. So I had already visualized the kind of shot I wanted to get with the drone, knew how to accomplish it. I visualized what I would do to get the shot, and then waited for the conditions for the drone. And it was really simple. The drone sits on the ground. It's got these little legs here in the front, so it tilts up a little bit. I fired up the remote control, fired up the drone, and then immediately started recording. So the drone would record on the ground. And then with the statue in front of me, I could see on the video from the camera, I could see on the video of the iPhone, because you use your iPhone to get flight information, the video and those kinds of things. So I could see on the iPhone that the drone, if it went straight up, would capture the picture I wanted to. So I looked around, made sure there were no people walking around. Drone took off. I went up, got my shot, brought it right back down again. Didn't fly around the town or anything else like it. It went straight up, straight down. And then we went over to Molly's Reach, did the same thing at Molly's Reach. Waited for no tourists to be around, had the shot all framed up already, took off, went straight up, came straight back down again. That's all I wanted to do, was to get that shot. So preparation is important, not only for DSLR shots and visualization, not just for DSLR shots, but also for drone shots. When I'm learning to fly, I hit record at the very beginning and just record everything, all my flight stuff. But eventually I'll get much more specific about what I want to do. I already know the kind of shots, some of the kind of shots that I want to get in Lisbon. Mm-hmm. And I know when we go to Lisbon in March, there are shots of the, I can't remember the name, the Plaza Camerico, I think it's called, that we'll get up at dawn and get those shots. The Belém Tower, maybe the monastery. I'll carry around with me for the entire time. But for the most part, I'd love to be able to get some shots up through the alley, the tracking shots, up through the stairs of the Alfama. The Alfama is this twisty, windy stair area, very hilly. And that kind of thing would be kind of neat to be able to set the drone up to get tracking shots as we go up these stairs or down these stairs. But I wouldn't do it if there was other people around. Now, I think it was MacMan was asking about the legality of this. From what I've been able to understand, and this is something you should do your research. The best website I found so far, MacMan, if you know of another one, let me know, mavicpilots.com. I signed up to them, did a search for Portugal, and there's a bunch of people giving you advice on what's legal and not legal in particular countries. In this case, it was Portugal. The Portuguese have an app that will tell you where you can fly and what conditions. The problem is it's in Portuguese, so I can't use it. DJI has an app on the phone that will tell you what the no-fly zones are, and in the no-fly, they have zones that they tell you be cautious in, and they have zones that are no-fly zones. And literally your drone will not take off in a no-fly zone. It literally won't even get off the ground in a no-fly zone. So what you do is, I found out that you send an email to the AAN in Portugal, the Aeronautical something, and basically tell them, this is what I want to do. I'd like permission to do this. And I didn't get any flack or anything. The person who wrote back, Felipe, said, yes, you can do this. Just make sure you don't fly over crowds. Make sure you don't fly outside of line of sight. Make sure you don't fly over 120 meters. All the usual common sense things.
Seems very lightweight.
Well, if you want, that's in Lisbon. If I wanted to fly someplace else where there was an Air Force base, there's a couple of bases around Lisbon, then I would need specific permission to fly in those areas. But around the city of Lisbon, they just basically say, use your common sense. Don't be an asshole with your drone. And I've seen other people say that they've taken the drone off. There's a castle, a Moorish castle on one of the hills, São George Castle. And I've seen guys say they've taken their drone off with cops standing right next to them and flown the drone out to get a shot of themselves, and the cops haven't done anything. Basically, it's use your common sense. Don't be a dick. Don't try to fly over people. Don't fly over things that you shouldn't be flying over, and you're going to be pretty fine. And that's true of a lot of places. Again, as Melissa said, we're very lucky. We're in a very wide open area here. There's all kinds of places I'd like to go shoot. But the closer you get to a major city, the more geo zones, no-fly zones you're going to get. For example, Washington, D.C., whole city. You cannot fly a drone anywhere within 5 miles of Washington, D.C., which makes sense. Same with New York City. New York City, I think all of Manhattan is a no-fly zone because there's no place you can safely fly in Manhattan. Maybe Bryant Park or Central Park, but even that's a lot of people around there. So make sure you know what the rules are. For some people, it may not be worth buying a drone because of where they live. It's all one giant exclusionary. But for most of us, if you have a car, you can get out into the countryside and take some interesting shots. If you want more information, you can go to mavicpilots.com and see what they have to say. You can send me emails. I'm just a beginner pilot, a beginning flyer, so don't expect a whole lot from me. Still learning about the shooting aspects of it. There is a lot to learn on this stuff. But I will tell you, the initial aspects of it are very, very simple. I would not be afraid of recommending to anybody who's into drone flying to buy one of these drones because they're very, very simple to fly. Surprisingly so. I thought it would be a lot more complicated to fly this thing, but it's not. It's really very, very simple. So did you make any New Year's resolutions?
No.
Really? Mm-mm. Not about anything?
No.
Not about loving your husband more or kissing him more or just being nicer to him?
No, I didn't. Sorry. Well, it shouldn't be a New Year's resolution. That should be just life, shouldn't it?
You couldn't possibly be nicer to me.
This is funny. What are you doing?
It's true. It's absolutely true.
What about you? Did you do a New Year's resolution? What's yours?
I've been thinking about this for a while. And one of the things is the recognition that's happened in the last 6 months that, and it's going to sound dumber than what I mean it to be, I'm getting older. And I am really noticing that I'm not going to say my body's breaking down, but I have noticed a huge loss in flexibility, a loss in strength, a large gain in weight, and I'm just not happy about it. So I've been thinking about this now for a couple of months. I've been sort of tipping my toe in the waters of, Melissa does amazing yoga once every 2 days, once every 3 days, and she does handstands. And by the way, if you haven't seen Melissa's Instagram video,
it's so funny.
So funny.
It is so funny.
So
Silly.
funny. And so you're a bit of the impetus for this because you were in amazing shape. You can do things in your yoga that I couldn't do it when I was 20, let alone at your age, 45.
I'm 55 this year, folks. I think MacMan's worried that you're going to confess to everyone that you're going to learn how to stand on your head. That's not what
hell
this
no.
is.
Hell no.
No.
Hell no.
But what,
I don't think I
sweetheart?
could.
I'm sorry.
I've said to Melissa many times, I'm not as strong as you are.
Oh,
I'll be the
yes, you
first
are.
one to admit I could not stand on my head the way you do.
Oh, no, you could hold me down with one hand, not even all 5 fingers. Anyway, go on. So you're dabbling in.
Dabbling in this exercise stuff. What do I like doing? What can I do? We have a local community center here, but it's obscenely expensive. It's $55 a month for one of us
Oh, my, no.
to go and use the gym.
not
and the
happening.
No, I'm not doing that.
No.
So Melissa does her workout here, so I want to be able to do a workout here too. So I've been talking about it, thinking about it, and then I think 2 weeks ago, I get an email from one of our listeners, a guy named John Cordyback. John, I didn't realize this. John lives in on the island, Vancouver Island. We live on the mainland, kind of. He lives on the island, and he said that I've got an Apple Watch 3. I've got an Apple Watch 4 and a 3. Do you want the 3? And Melissa and I have talked about the Apple Watch, and our friend Vito did the worst demonstration ever.
That was
Worst.
funny.
It's terrible.
Thanks, Vito.
Here I was trying to convince
It was funny.
Melissa to get us so we could get Apple Watches, and Vito does this demo that she went, really?
He
You
wasn't
want that
prepared.
piece-
Bless
you
him.
want that piece of crap?
Well, it does this and
It was very funny.
it was cute.
Worst demo ever. I can say that to you, Vito, because I love you.
Yes.
But it sucked. So there hasn't been a real compelling reason for us to go and spend $700 for 2 Apple Watches. So when John said this, I said, well, okay, it depends on the price. Apple Watch 3, it'll still do a lot of cool things. I said, sure, John, depends on the price. He said, no, I'll just send it to you for free.
Aw.
What? Get out of here. Well, last week, it showed up. Ah, damn it. I wanted it to be smoother than that. John sent me an Apple Watch. Series 3 Apple Watch. The packaging of this was just beautiful. I mean, Apple does just such an amazing job. And there it is. Surprisingly enough, I think it's a smaller, 42 millimeters is a larger one. So it's a nice size. I've missed wearing a watch. I have this beautiful Tissot that I got in 2002. So 17 years ago? 16 years ago in Atlanta. And I love the Tissot, but it's not working properly, and I just don't have the money to get a Tissot fixed. It costs $500 to get a Tissot fixed. So I've missed having something on my wrist. The Tissot is a very heavy, dense watch. I loved the weight of the Tissot. So I love wearing a watch. I love the feel of the watch on my wrist. And as I've been using it, as I've been playing around with it, as I've been learning about it, it's very interesting. It's more interesting than at least I thought it was going to be. One of the things that we heard last summer. Yeah, last summer we were hanging out at the P&E, the Pacific National Exhibit, with our friends, the Gares, Susan and Greg, and Logan, the official. I can't. He can't be the official teenager of Wyoming. We have to make Rory that, don't we?
Oh, Roy doesn't care.
Rory
He
doesn't
doesn't know
care.
you have an official anything.
That's right. So Logan is the official teenager of Your Mac Life. And one of the things that Greg said was really interesting. He said he loves the Apple Watch. One of the reasons why he loves the Apple Watch is because of the data. And he admits to his nerddom, and he says he likes getting the data. He likes accessing the data and using the data and learning the data. And it's very, very true. I've been wearing this now for a week. And what I've been doing is sort of tracking what my day-to-day baseline activity is. And I can see this thing really encouraging me to, on Mondays when I'm going to officially start, to up the game, to use the Apple Watch to close those rings. Because I've been doing it, trying to get a baseline, I haven't been focused on closing the rings. But I see those rings and think, I can walk that far and get those rings closed. I'm looking forward to, on Monday, closing these rings. I get close each evening. It's set at 500 calories. I get about 400 calories in our normal day, but that's because we've been walking.
We've been out. No, but we've been out.
But we've been out and about. So today, because of the show, was mostly a sedentary day, and it says I've only used 292 calories.
Oh, what are you going to do?
Which is basically coffee.
Yeah.
You know, there's no activity. So that also tells me very clearly you don't move enough. Now, I knew I didn't, but this tells me in a very graphical, data-driven way, you are a slob. You don't go anywhere or do anything. So the watch, along with some other apps that I've been using, really I'm looking forward to Monday when I can set this to 750 calories. It's set at 500 now. 750 and really work hard to close these rings. The stand-up thing and the breathing thing, those are easy to do because they give you reminders on the watch. Melissa's annoyed as hell at the notifications.
Oh, he's beeping and vibrating and buzzing and bling. Sounds like a little Christmas bell. I'm like, really? I lay in bed holding his hand while we watch the bloody phone keeps bugging me all the time. Shawn looks at me out of his peripheral vision.
I can see... Now, I left everything turned on, or I did turn everything on in the settings, just to see how that...
MacMan set his to silent.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm about to say.
Oh, sorry.
I turned everything on just to see how everything worked. And
Yes.
just ran it for a week to see how it works. And yes, I can see how it would be bothersome to Melissa. It doesn't bother me. I'll turn the volume off, definitely. But the vibrations all keep on. And you can set it so you only get notifications from certain things. I don't need my Facebook notifications turned on. I don't need my Instagram notifications turned on. So those things I can turn off and minimize the amount of notifications. But I was just curious to see how it felt. The other thing I found really interesting about the watch was using Siri on it. It's hit and miss, like regular Siri. But the idea of being able to use Siri for directions was kind of cool. It's also a little difficult and annoying. The phone kept coming on. Now, if I'm using Siri for directions, if I'm in the car and I'm driving, and Siri comes on, if I'm using Siri for directions, or even if I'm walking, the phone's in my pocket, I don't want the phone to come on. I'm trying to save battery life. I don't need the phone screen to come on if I'm driving and it's down on the chair, on the seat next to me, or in my pocket. That's kind of stupid. But the buzzing and the vibrations to tell you to go left or right, which is kind of interesting. I kind of like that. What else was there about it? The I'm not sure which band he sent along, but it's a neoprene rubbery kind of band. I like it. It's not. I thought it would be more abrasive than what it is. I can definitely see me getting a metal band because I've always liked metal bands more, and the bands of Apple Watches have become much cheaper over time. The connection to it is amazing. The way, I haven't shown Melissa this, the way the Apple Watch band's attached to the Apple Watch is beautiful. It is a thing to marvel at. And I'll show you this later.
You already did.
How it connected? No, I didn't.
MacMan says it's the sports one because it's
the Nike Sport version. But I'm not. I don't care. I don't care about the Nike stuff. I'm not joining the Nike Run Club or.
Oh no,
crap
it's
like
just
that.
cool because it's the Nike version.
So again, huge thanks to John Cordyback. John, that's very sweet, very kind of you to do that, and I'll let you guys know. So the idea is, my New Year's resolution is to lose 30 pounds by March 20th. So starting next Monday, so that's January, February, March, about 3 months, I should be able to do that. I think I can do that. And even if I can't, at least I've got a goal to move forward to.
Lovely.
So wish me luck, folks. That's a sports band. How long was I able to buckle the thing one-handed? It did take a bit of time to learn how to do it, if only because this is a new band. The little nubbin there didn't fit. Once the nubbin gets in there a few times, it's real easy. I mean, I can do it now. I can hold it up. This is what I do each morning. Hold it up like this. Boom. And then boom. And then boom. Done. So it's not that much time. Unlock to view. enter passcode.
He could lose it, MacMan. You're right.
Come on now.
MacMan said it first.
I don't know if I'd lose it from the idea of it popping off my wrist. Because, like I said, I like the weight of it. I'm aware, I'm conscious of the weight of it. So I think if it did fall, and I don't think it can fall off. It's unlikely that it would fall off. I think I would notice it right away. As always, send us emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. Happy to get emails from you guys, and love getting emails from you guys, so please send them along to us. Our friend Nathan Schmidt, Melissa, best holiday wishes to you and Melissa from Kate and me. He said, thanks in part to the inspiration from your starting point photography segment. I love hearing that. We took the plunge and bought ourselves an actual camera for Christmas.
Wow.
A Fujifilm X-T3 with 18-55mm kit lens. I promptly bought us a copy of Understanding Exposure, which we're going to start working through. This camera is a perfect size for both of us with our medium-ish hands, and the finish of the camera is outstanding. We're both a bit overwhelmed by all the dials and buttons, but are having fun working through the manual, which is surprisingly well written. It's certainly a big change from taking pictures with our iPhones. We'll be listening closely to your photography tips in the coming year. So, of course, I said, come to Lisbon with us.
Yes, perfect.
He said, I wish we could go to Lisbon, but Kate and I are planning a trip to New York City. Have bought theater tickets for a few months ago for our 12th anniversary on March 23rd.
So lovely.
So, congratulations for your 12th anniversary.
So lovely.
Kate and Nathan.
What a lovely thing to do together.
No kidding. Go to a theater.
No, the camera thing.
Oh, camera
They're
thing.
doing it. They're learning this thing together. It's wonderful.
He said, I was bummed when I checked the dates because I've been keen to visit Portugal for years. We'll definitely be interested in the next trip you plan, though. This one sounds amazing. Next trip, unofficially announcing this right now, will be Vancouver, September 2019.
Beautiful city.
Right here.
Very beautiful.
Got a donation from Richard Gerard. Have a nice trip to Portugal with a couple of drinks on me. The donation's big enough. Richard buying the whole first round in Lisbon. He's buying everyone drinks.
Wow.
And Lisbon is so cheap.
It's cheap.
It's 2 rounds.
Aww.
The first 2 rounds in the pub in Lisbon are going to be on Richard Gerard. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Richard.
Going to be on the Waiting for Review podcast, waitingforreview.com podcast. It's a real nerdy podcast, but we're not going to be talking nerdy stuff, so don't worry about that. Dave and the guys over there have asked me to be on their podcast next week, I think next Sunday. So I'm looking forward to being on that. Let's see, any other emails? Yes, I do. Don Beck, your photography, your food photography email. We'll get to that one next week, just to make sure I have enough time to talk about that. But yeah, so we'll talk about that on next week's show. I think that's it for this evening's show, isn't it? You got anything else?
I think so.
I think let me just check my list of things I'm supposed to talk about. Do you ever get nomophobia?
Nomophobia.
Nomophobia.
Nomo. I don't think so.
I do. I'm embarrassed to admit it.
What do you?
It's the Cambridge Oxford Dictionary's Word of the Year for 2018. Nomophobia it describes a condition many of us are familiar with, even if we never knew there was a term for it. The word is, according to the Independent, the dictionary definition is a fear or worry at the idea of being without your phone.
Oh, you definitely have nomophobia. Yeah. Definitely, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And it's very frightening.
You can leave the house without your phone. I can't.
I like leaving the house without my phone.
I can't. For any number of reasons. Connectivity, information, the internet, cell phone.
I think it's just for Twitter, personally. Seriously, you notice how with his phone he said, I don't need Instagram notifications. I don't need Facebook notifications, blah, 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 blah. But Twitter wasn't in there.
It was not.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not going to hold hands with him anymore in bed.
Because the phone? Because the watch? You don't want to know how many tweets I'm getting?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No.
Well, that's kind of hurtful. Don't you think?
No.
No?
It's only because Rory's been away that I've been quite open to going places without my phone. When he's here, I have it with me.
Yeah, and it's not a debilitating thing for me. It's not like I...
Okay, let's test that, shall we? Before the show next week. Let's see if you can go for a morning without your phone. Till noon. You wake up in the morning, have your coffee, and then we'll see if we can extend it.
It's easy. I can easily sleep into 11:45.
No, and then for the whole day, see if you can go without.
What? Why? Why would I do such a crazy thing?
It's an experiment.
Why are you experimenting on your husband? I'm not a lab rat.
So I wake up. That's right.
Exactly. I'll wake up later.
You couldn't do it. You are a nomophobe.
I have nomophobia. I will admit to it. Folks, that's it for tonight's show. I want to say thanks very much. Also, I was going to say congratulations, but it's congratulations to me. This is show number 1,200, the 1,200th show. We will start. I will celebrate 25 years of podcasting on March 19th of this year. That's just ridiculous. That's kind of silly. That's just.
Why is it silly?
I don't know. It's just something. I don't know. 25 years is a good long time. So I just wanted to say. So this is show number 1,200. So that's pretty cool. That's it for tonight's show. As always, I want to say thanks to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com for being here each and every week. I want to say thanks to you guys for being tuned in, whether you're tuned into the archive or listening in live. Thanks very much to the cute little redheaded girl over there. Folks, as always, I've been Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King.
And you've been listening to Your Mac Life. See ya!
Bye.